Hello everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you my official review for The Flash Season 2, Episode 11, titled The Reverse Flash Returns. Yes, now of course if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the newest episode of CW's The Flash. Now, before I get into my review, if I sound like shit, or if I look like shit, or basically, if I'm trying to speed up this review a little too quickly, it's mostly due to the fact that I'm incredibly sick. I'm pretty much feeling terrible inside and out. I've had the flu and food poisoning. And of course my body's aching from head to toe. So I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible, not ramble like I'm doing now. And also if you hear anything that's odd in the background, if you will, it's mostly due to the fact that it's raining up a storm in this piece. But that being said, let's get into this newest episode of The Flash. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's in the title. It pretty much spoils everything in the actual title, which of course is the return of the Reverse Flash. Now, it didn't really make that much sense to me that Reverse Flash would be coming back into the series, considering the fact that they pretty much eliminated him from history in the previous season. However, they kind of explain it through some mumbo-jumbo science thingy that Harrison Wells kind of tells everybody that, okay, I guess that the Reverse Flash, the E11 of the future, I guess in that specific timeline, had not come back into the past to kill Barry's mother, so he still exists in that specific timeline. But the Earbarthon that did already do that previously in Season 1 is dead, but the future one isn't. I don't know. Time travel comic books. You make it up as you will. But at the end of the day, the Reverse Flash does return in the series, and I personally thought it was a really good offshoot from the Zoom scenario. Of course, there's still a lot of logistics that we need to understand regarding Zoom, how we're going to catch him, how we're going to stop him. Harrison Wells is secretly working with him now that Zoom has his daughter and what have you. However, this is just a nice little episode that's a one-shot outside of the Zoom stuff. And it was really cool to see Reverse Flash come back because I'm such a huge fan of Season 1 and how they treated Reverse Flash. I thought they perfectively did Reverse Flash. I thought they did an amazing job putting him on the big screen, or the TV, the small screen, if you will, whatever. But the point is, I think they did an amazing job with him, and I really like the actor who betrayed Earbarthon. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Tom Cavanaugh as Harrison Wells / Reverse Flash last season was phenomenal. I mean, Tom Cavanaugh kills it on the CW, The Flash. I mean, he's a destroyer as an actor, but let's put it out there. Earbarthon looks this specific kind of a way, and I liked that they went back with that actor and didn't just use him for like a couple one-off shoot episodes of last season. I thought it was just really nice that they brought him back. And of course, the actor who betrays Earbarthon in this episode and in the series was recently in Michael Bay's newest film, The 13 Hours, which is a thing that happened, I guess. But anyways, regardless of any of that, we also have a ton of other subplots. We have, Caitlin Snow trying to figure out how to cure Jay Garrick of his diseases or what have you, which really doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, granted, Jay Garrick as a comic book character is awesome. He's the original Flash. No one can take that away from him. But on the show, I don't know why, but every single time I see Jay Garrick on screen, I find it harder and harder to give a shit about him. I don't know if anybody else has the same problem, but I feel like every single time he's back on screen, he becomes more and more irrelevant as time goes on. I'm just saying, he needs to get his speed back and starts becoming relevant, because at this point in time, ever since his premiere on the show, I really haven't given a shit about him. But regardless of any of that, Caitlin Snow is still on the run to try and find a way to cure Jay Garrick of his deadly disease that's about to kill him. But of course, we need to stop Zoom, so what the hell are you going to do? And of course, on top of that, we also have the West family debacle, the family drama that is, Iris's mother dying, and of course, Joe and Iris's debacle with Wally and how Wally factors into this whole thing. I think the best thing about this middle half, if you would call it, of CW Season 2 of The Flash is the West family drama. Now, I'm not really big on CW's dramatics. I find it incredibly cheesy and just irrelevant to the overall scope of the superhero spectrum, if you will. But man, have I been enjoying this West family stuff. I mean, ever since they introduced Wally, I thought, like, okay, he'll be a part of the Star Labs crew, and he'll be Reverse Flash like everyone else, or the sidekick, number 2, or what, who gives a shit? But they've been treating it like He is a serious, actual character with some legitimate opinions about the rest of the crew, and he freaking has his own problems. And I like that. I like that they're encouraging that kind of formula, if you will, with the Wally West character. I mean, granted, it's not the Wally West that I grew up with, you know, and he's not really the Wally West that I would have preferred to see on screen. Hopefully we get that one day with, like, the movie version or what have you. But overall, at the end of the day, it's just really cool to see everyone come together as a family. And also, I have to give it up to the actors who portrayed Joe, Iris, and Wally. I mean, they have been killing it consistently, acting-wise, performance-wise, especially for Iris, because, you know, last season, I bashed the living crap out of that character because of how irrelevant and very flat her performances were last season and how underdeveloped she was as a character. This season, she's bringing it up to an all-time high, and I love her moments with Wally. I think those are, at least in my opinion, the best dramatic and heart-touching moments of this episode. But moving off of that, we also have the concluding, if you will, relationship subplot between Patty and Barry. Now, let's put it out there. You know my personal opinions on Barry and Patty's relationship. Granted, we already know inevitably Barry has to end up with Iris. It's set in the fucking timelines, people. It's set in the fucking comic book lore. It has to happen regardless of how much you want to be with Patty Spivot. But regardless of any of that, you know at the end of the day, she cannot stay around forever. It just happens. It's a superhero thing. Not every superhero... I mean, like, have you seen Batman's freaking laundry list of chicks he's been with? But regardless of any of that, we already knew that at a certain point in time that Patty would end up, you know, she would leave. And I feel like because I never really cared about the Patty Spivot character, it doesn't really mean anything to me. But in this episode, it's, you know, last episode, we got introduced to the idea that Patty was going, but she wanted Barry to really reveal his true secrets to her to really stay, which I felt like was real kind of a shitty thing to do. I mean, like, I don't want to get into, like, real life relationship kind of, you know, formalities or whatever, but doesn't it kind of feel like a shitty thing to do as a person to be like, I'm going to leave you forever unless you tell me everything about you? It's like, why do I have to fucking tell... They haven't even been dating that long. Like, have they even dated, like, a year? I don't even think so. And already you have to tell them, like, oh, shit, I'm the Flash, you know, and also my mom's dead. And also, like, you know, I kind of went to the past. I time travel, you know. I stop bad guys and shit. I mean, like, you do too, but, like, really extravagant ones. Like, I have to tell you all that shit unless you fucking leave? That just sounds like bullshit to me. And the fact that that was even introduced makes me feel like every single second that passes that she's not fucking gone, I'm getting angrier and angrier. I want her to leave already. And now that she's finally gone, all I can really say is, I don't care. I'm sorry. I know there's a hardcore fan base for Patty Spivot, the actress and the character, I guess. And I'm pretty sure by now they're, like, shooting, like, bullets into my fucking head right now. But I can't help it. From day one, you know, I never really cared for the Spivot character, and now that she's finally leaving, I'm okay with it. I really have no qualms with it. I know other people will be like, no, Patty, no. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, Patty does end up leaving, and she does end up revealing to Barry that she knows that he is the Flash, which is also a real weird thing, which is, like, if your whole thing was trying to figure out that Barry is Flash, and now that you know it, and now that you knew it's true, especially with your test experiment at the end of the episode, then why the fuck leave in the first place? I mean, like, he came because he loves you. That shows that he loves you because he fucking came. If he didn't fucking care, he would have never even done it. I don't know. It's really stupid. It's CW cheese. What are you gonna do? It's just things to pull out on the, you know, the heartstrings of every single teen fan who's fucking, like, into the cheesiness of the CW. So I guess it worked for those kind of, you know, viewers and fans, but for me, we're counting the minutes for Patty to leave and just not be on screen anymore. I'm sorry. I know that's a terrible thing to say, possibly, but I just can't help it. But at the end of the day, she is now gone. I'm pretty sure that the actress or the character will cameo and come back for future episodes. I'm pretty sure. I mean, like, it's the CW, DC universe. You know, various characters never stay dead forever, so they're eventually going to come back and cameo and come back for other episodes. I'm pretty sure. But at the end of the day, now she's officially gone. So now we can fully focus on what's really at hand, which is the Zoom threat. But of course, we have to deal with the Reverse Flash. The Reverse Flash wants to go back home, kind of similar to how the Reverse Flash wanted to go back home in the previous season. And of course, Barry needs to not make that happen because he hates him. And Reverse Flash moments are awesome and epic. I really liked them. I really enjoyed them. And I think the final battle, without getting into too much spoiler territory with the whole Cisco, Reverse Flash, and Barry debacle, I think worked out to a major advantage. I really liked how it happens. It's kind of like how Harrison Wells was explaining. It's like no matter how much you try to stop something from happening in time, time finds a way to make things right, and it's eventually going to happen. So even if you hate the Reverse Flash, even if you despise him with all your heart, even though you don't want him to do these terrible things that he will inevitably do, he's going to have to do them because that's how time is, written out. So I really liked how they played it out, and I think the way they introduced the character, used him as like a villain of the week, and just passed him on, I think worked perfectly. So at the end of the day, this was a pretty good episode. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And final verdict for this episode has to be a solid 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the fighting, the effects, the dialogue, the drama, the Patty Spivot stuff, I wasn't really into. And of course, there was some cheesy stuff with Cisco where I was like, Cisco, I like you sometimes, but sometimes you could be a little too cheesy for my taste. But overall, I like this episode. It was very nice. Of course, next week is going to be some very interesting things. Are they going to go to Earth 2? Is Iris going to kick the bucket? Who the hell knows? But we'll have to wait and see. Overall, I'm enjoying the second half of The Flash, and let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. Did you love this episode? Did you hate this episode? What did you think about the return of the Reverse Flash? What are your personal thoughts on Barry and Patty's relationship finally disbanding and dissolving? And what are your personal thoughts on the West family? And of course, how Team Flash is going to deal with Zoom. And of course, Hunter Zolomon Easter egg drop. I forgot to mention that. That was also really pretty badass. I mean, personally, I find it weird that they used the Hunter Zolomon name for the Jay Garrick doppelganger, considering the fact that Hunter Zolomon is actually the real name of one of the Reverse Flashes / Zoom. So I find it kind of odd that they didn't do it. Or is Hunter Zolomon of Earth 1 is Zoom in secret? I'm just saying, we don't know who Zoom is technically, so speculations down below. But that being said, final verdict is a 9 out of 10. Love this episode. Let me know what you personally think. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonch12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Jonch12.